Hello, everyone. Hope you and your dear ones are doing good too. A very good evening to everyone, and I welcome you all to the 97th online knowledge sharing session of OHR, which is scheduled today, 12th February 2022, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on everything about strike. And we have with us speaker Mr. Suhas Pakhare, senior HR professional. But before we further continue with the session, I request everyone to please be on mute during the session. And if you have any questions or queries, you can drop them in the chat box or please patiently wait till the time comes to unmute yourself. Also, for better experience of the session, if it is possible, please keep your videos on as you will be able to 100% focus on the session and also we'll get to see wonderful faces. Thank you. Dear all, OHR is primarily an informal self-help group of and for OHR professionals, including those in IR and HR professions, as well as researchers who have passion to do better all the time. Only HR was started around 8 years ago as a self-help group. A few sensitive and enthusiastic HR professionals experienced a need to help themselves and others in their professional community. OHR connects to thousands of HR professionals working across various types of industries, and every month a session is arranged for sharing knowledge and experiences in the industry. It is overwhelming to see that we have been able to positively influence thousands of HR professionals, and now we are not only have become a trust, but trusted name in fraternity, HR fraternity. And we invite you to become a part of the knowledge sharing session journey through one of the following ways: by becoming a member in any of the WhatsApp group of OHR and interested associate, as I've asked earlier. Please WhatsApp on the number that is given in the chat box your name, designation, company name for further processes. And with this, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Suhas Pakhare, HR professional. His educational background consists of BCom honors, MBA in personal and marketing, diploma in labor laws and labor welfare, diploma in training and development, government diploma in cooperation and accounting. He is currently guest faculty for Kolhapur Institute Biases Institute of Business Management, Pune, Pune Institute of Business Management, Pune, HN College of Management and Research, Sholapur, Ashok Rao Mane Polytechnic, Kolhapur, and also member of the advisory board of KIT IM. His professional journey consists of over 35 years, and he has worked in Indian Petrochemical Private Limited for 15 years, Reliance Industries Limited, GMHR for 9 years, Kirloskar Oil Engines Limited, Head HR 2 years, Tata Auto Company Private Limited, VPHR for 2 years, and John Deere India Private Limited, Head Industrial Relations and Administration for 7 years. His personal achievements, his professional achievements consist of setting up mega petrochemical complex at Raigad, Maharashtra, associated with OIDB for feasibility report of associated with TIFR for finalization of the workforce plan for petrochemical complex, finalization of the HRIR admin process for company having the project of Indian rupees 10,000 crore during 1980 to 1990, mass recruitment and training for mega startup, management of over 10,000 contracted workforce and adherence to compliance, external relation for smooth starting of the project, setting up mega self-sustainable relational township, also setting up the different function gradually, transformation from private sector to public sector to private sector, smooth transition of the different cultures, worked as director in the allied companies of the IPCL RIL, smooth transition of the project affected persons, mega events or sports management, creation and sustaining the supervisory organization at KOEL Kaggle, finalized the scheme of enhancement of the knowledge and professional qualification through the tie-up with reputed engineering colleges at KOEL. Very well experienced of building external relations, including political leaders and government authorities in professional journey. Also successfully completed 10 journey. Handled the successfully converted through the win-win approach. Experienced and mastered different culture and processes of the public sector company, private sector company, family-owned companies, and multinational companies. Part of the board level, leadership level meeting for deciding the strategies, finalized wage workforce strategy, and MNC smooth execution of the same. Mass recruitment of the wage manpower and excitement and with this great introduction, I would like to request our speaker to please take over the screen.
Thank you, Sukhpreet.
Thank you, sir.
A very good evening to all. See, the industrial strikes, whatever the 47 participants are listening, knows the most of basically go on my experiences. Okay, so I wanted to mention that uh, start with the little good things. You all know that the Kirloskar Oil Engines has got the Limca Book of Awards for the 6 consecutive settlements done in time, and it doesn't surprise or with some mantra or some amrut or something like that. To mention with the good things that the settlements can go very well in time, okay, if management is very much careful and unions are very much mature one. So I would like to mention that the good thing that Coil has got the Limca Book of Awards. Okay, what was that? Why it has been happened so? They had one Babuji Tiwari, who was one of the best Indian leaders, who has put the principles and foundations well for them. So the principles of union, even today also it can be seen. I have not put the slides of that, but I wanted to just mention you that they were always thinking that unions were thinking at the 1950-56, the work is worship. Okay, never stop your daily work. That was their principles. Any problem to be seen as organization's problem, and not as a union management problem. This generally doesn't happen nowadays. Resolve all the differences across the table, I mean, amicably. Okay. Avoid approaching third party or the court for intervention. That was the principles. Management and union can reach to more practical and win-win solutions. Okay. First, generate the wealth, and then we have moral right to ask for salary, rise and increase. Always think in constructive, cooperative ways in the changing scenario of the organizations. These are the principles adopted by the unions in 1950s, and still it has been continued in the Kirloskars. These were the principles which I would like to really tell that even today, we HRIR managers, we groom the unions, make them mature. Please take these principles and see that these principles can be applied, taught to them, and that will definitely be beneficial both management and the unions. What were the values they have? The values also quite good. Ability to absorb everybody. सगळ्यांना घेऊन काम करायचंय. Have the patience and priority to work, not for the other things. Otherwise, nowadays we see that a lot of union leaders are not working at shop floor. Very few companies, union leaders are working at shop floor. And we HRIR manager are the culprit for that. First, if they don't work, they should be set right immediately. Okay. I have seen the Kirloskars, the union leaders are working. I have seen John Deere union leaders are fully working for 8 hours. Whereas the other companies, still there are certain issues are there. Okay. Continuous learning is very much important for the unions as well as the management. Okay, unflinching trust, that is very, very important. Okay, firm to decision. What happens? एकदा वचन दिले की ते पाळायचं असतं. वचन हा बदलायला नाही हवं. Okay, that is very important. The values is they are always open to talk the issues. Nothing is hidden. Clean character was there of the union leaders. Absolutely ethical, integrated, and honest. Ability to change with the times. That is very, very important because today the digitalization is going on, changes are happening faster. We need to change. And lastly, the honesty and organization skills. Okay, that was there. In 1950s and 60s, the unions were having three-level committees. One is apex committees who were doing the policy decisions, settlements, and all that. Another was the industrial relation committees that were taking care of the certain issues which are the middle level grievances and major grievances and problems. And day-to-day issues were handled by the grievance handling committees. So these were the structure utilized, these were the values, these were the principles adopted by the management, by the unions, and the management was also quite good, which was developed and nurtured by Central Kirloskar and taken over by the Atul Kirloskar and all that. And that's why still they have the timely settlements and most of industrial strikes happen because of the failure of LTS. That's why I thought, let me have some example, which is one of the positive example to start with. Okay. So I have few slides. Few slides is not much important. I'll be going to share you the more experiences. Okay. See, I have the contents that what is the strike, types of strike, reasons of strike, advantages of strike, disadvantages of strikes, and how we should avoid the strikes, how we should come out successfully from the striking situation, interventions what needed during the strike, and what initiative post-strike needs to be taken by the management, unions, and IR managers, and the legal provisions in the new labor codes. Okay. See, this definition is known to everyone, so I'm going to skip this though. Just I mentioned it because for the purpose, the types of strikes. I have, with my experience, I have divided the type of strikes. It is called planned strikes, the spontaneous strikes, supportive strikes, and external strikes. We'll definitely go one by one and have the experiences also. Okay, the planned strikes, they are generally decided if settlement doesn't happen for the certain type of amount or certain benefits is not getting, then we are going to go strike. In that, these are called the planned strikes. Stay away strikes. People doesn't come to the factory. Okay, stay in or sit down in the strikes. People just come into the factory, just sit down there. They doesn't work. Token or protest strikes. It may be the black label, the protest, and all that, and the go slow strikes. Okay, we'll go one by one. Definitely. See, about the planned strike, I have one case which I would like to mention. And whatever cases I'm going to, experiences I'm going to share, it is not that I have seen only, but I have experienced also. Okay. I have joined one of the company. It is not good to mention the name. And the day of that joining company, first day was very good, absolutely fantastic one. Next day, I have been introduced to the union members by my seniors and told that now you have to carry on this. As soon as I have been introduced, the president of the union has stand up and told that, Mr. Pakhare, we are doing this settlement last 8 months, and during this settlement, the HR rates has been changed. One CO has been changed. Kindly tell that, are you going to complete the settlement or not? So without knowing much about the company, I have committed that, yes, I am going to complete your settlement and definitely it will be amicably one win-win situation. I don't know how it will go, but I will tell you the last results will be the win-win situation because I have the principle in my mind that any problem can be solved with the dialogues and continuous dialogues and continuous relations and the trust building. So if I wanted to mention about that, the COD was submitted 2 months before of the expiry of the contract. Okay. And wage agreement was due in the month of February. Discussion started January. I joined somewhere in the month of August, September. Okay. Around 20 to 22 rounds were completed. In that rounds, 3 HR heads were not there. See, the attrition of the key people I already mentioned has gone there. Okay. And these, due to inconsistency of the discussions and trust levels, frustration has come to the unions. The seriousness about the management negotiations has gone into the dogs absolutely, and people started the work stoppages. Okay, and this has become the regular work. Okay, it has affected the productivity, it has affected the quality, and it has also affected the day-to-day work. Then workers started the protesting, wearing the black sleeves, slogan shouting, mass movement, and all that. Okay, this is all was going on. Okay, absolutely. The people were not happy, and then we started the negotiations meetings, the discussions, and all that. Okay, sometimes the discussions did not went well because of the demands were not logical one, not with the current situation, and that time we had to keep the certain gaps. And during the gaps, we found that there was a low productivity, that the machines were, we tried to shift the machines outside, and that time the people have objected it, and I had to really terminate out of 9 office bearers to 8 office bearers has been suspended. Okay, one only has been kept just to for the communication. That the situation was day by day, it was critical one. Okay, later on, a lot of intervention has been taken. Continuous dialogues were continued. One-on-one discussions with the office bearers were there, though they were away from the factory. Lot of letters has been written to their family members, convinced about the data and logic and all that, and we brought back them to the sitting table, and this settlement has been done after 79 meeting. Okay, and this has taken almost 2 years for me. During that 2 years, after 1.5 years, I have got the offer from the another company, which I have kept on the hold. I did complete that settlement. But here I would like to mention the experience that is that if management is not serious, if there is attrition of the senior people, if you don't have the engagement initiatives, if you don't have the recognition, if you don't have the respect of the people or their grievances, definitely things go out of hand. And once things go out of hand, taking care is difficult, and it gives you a lot of damages economically, emotionally, morally, and the productivity wise. Okay. So what this impact is that I already mentioned. So these are the planned strikes. Most of the time it has been done. I'll tell you these planned strikes also. He has got the negotiations teams. The management team is there, and there is a union team is there. Union team has got certain threshold limits. This time settlement has to happen with certain benefits and certain amounts. Similar way, the management has got certain bands. This should happen in that. Okay, and then they decide that if it is delayed also, if it doesn't get our threshold limit, we are going to go for strikes. Here, the IR and HR role is very important. Here we have to see that how we can amicably understand each other, understand the issues. Sometimes we have to convince to the management, sometimes we have to convince to the even unions. I'll give the example. The settlement was the one of the company settlement was going on. The settlement was almost done, and the matter was remain only 100 rupees extra asked by the unions. We tried with the management. Management did not budge, did not agree, and because of that, 100 rupees. The what is happened, I'll tell you. The last meeting was going on. There was the external participation. One of the BMS union was there, and I was knowing that what I'm going to announce the figure, which is not going to be digested to the unions, and I was going to know that what is going to happen. But here I would like to mention that though I tried with the management that we should give 100 rupees more, but we were not able to either convince to the union, either convince to the management. That is possible most of time. Okay. So once I announced that we cannot go beyond this amount, immediately the meeting has been stopped. People went to the shop floor, people stopped the work, all people came to the offices, they damaged the complete offices, their PCs and laptops and equipments. They came down to the ground, sat down over there. The sudden strike has been started. Okay, and not only stop the strikes, then we have made the police complaints with the names of the people who has damaged the property. Police has uh, they have been taken into the custody and they put into the jail. Okay, and they put into the jail. The matter has been again went into the lot of problems. Next day morning, nobody has come to the factory on the gates. And after 3 days, people started coming. Then we asked for the good conduct bond. People were not interested to good conduct bond. We went to the ALC office and we have done a lot of exercise, lot of interventions. After 7 days, after getting the good conduct bond, we started the factory and we started the. Meanwhile, we could make losses to our parent companies. Okay, and later on, being a good management, we went back to the jail, the court, and we have given the bonds and we bring back our people who have been arrested and jailed, because that is also one of the point, because always management is a parent to any worker or the employee. We again started some initiatives and came back to the discussions, their minds clear, objectives clear, some initiatives has been taken, respect has been increased, and we could do the settlement. There also win and win. But we lost a lot of productivity, lot of quality, brand image, then economical things, then injury, and the permanent in their brain that the these memories give a lot of bad thinking all the time, and it takes very bad images in the mind of the company as well as the employees. So these are the things happens. One here, I would like to say that HR manager or CEOs, okay, we have to able to convince to the management, and we have to also able to convince to the unions and come to the win and win situation. That is very important. Unless and until you are able to convince, you have courage to convince both sides, you should not give your final figures, final things to them. Otherwise, kindly delay the things. And management cannot always show helpless. IR manager, HR manager should not show their helplessness, because they are the major media for handling the strikes, handling the links, bridging the gaps, and helping the management and the unions. I always tell that ही गाडीची दोन चाकं आहेत. युनियन्स आणि IR मॅनेजर किंवा मॅनेजमेंट ही दोन्ही चाकं व्यवस्थित चालत असेल तरच आपली गाडी व्यवस्थित चालते. So this is what I talked about the planned strikes. Okay, and I given you the some experiences also. The third case I would like to mention, which I will tell you later on. Okay, there are certain spontaneous strikes also happens. Suddenly there is a heated argument between the employees. I have seen in the canteen, it has been happened in 2 times in my duration, and the people have assaulted each other. And that time we have gone to the termination, including the union office bearers. And there is a sudden strikes happens. That I call it is a spontaneous strikes. Without much thinking happens. Sometimes accident happens, even accidents happening in industry. Okay, I understand. I have seen in one of company I was working, accident happen outside on the roads. Even then, people have stopped work inside the factory. That type of repercussions come to the factory purpose, factory inside the factory, and handling the situation becomes tough, though it is out of control of the management. Even then, we have to see that things has to taken care well. Definitely, I have good experience that Our senior management has taken care very well situation and came out very well without much disturbance to the factory. See, there are certain attitude problems. I will give you the attitude problem, one of the examples. Okay. One of the IR manager has been joined. And in introduction, he told the unions that I am so much great. I have been removed so many people. I am very tough, and I can handle this thing and that thing. And माझ्याकडे कोणाचं काही चालत नाही. See, this type of talking to the union office bearers at the first instance, before you have the trust between them, it gives a very bad signal to the opposite party. Okay, whatever action you are going to take, it may be unintentional. They will think it's intentional because the media, the best person between the management and the unions is the IR manager. So the IR manager's impression should be always good between the management as well as the unions. It is very difficult task, I'm telling you. It is balancing on the rope because having the same trust levels of management and the unions is a difficult task, but it needs to be managed. If you could manage this, I will tell you that being a IR manager, your life will be almost peaceful. Your factory will be peaceful. Okay. There are certain unfair labor practices. I'll give the example. See, you will find in the company, there are larger than one units. In one premises, larger than one factory. And you will find that one factory is taking the action on certain level of indiscipline and another factory is taking the different action on the certain level of indiscipline and people watch that and that has been taken care seriously. That is unfair labor practice example that if you give the some penalties differently for the similar causes in the same premises or the units of the company, it will go definitely against of the management, against of the unfair labor practice. See, the other examples, everybody knows that the wages, the even the how respect is given to the different categories. Permanent people are always given a lot of respect. Trainees has not been given the respect, but both are the working hands. Both are supporting the business. My request to the all IRHR managers, please treat everybody equally. Okay, treat respectfully, treat fairly, and these are the examples which I can give you the spontaneous strikes. I'll give you another examples also, which there are certain supportive strikes happens. Okay, always called by the political affiliated unions. Okay, most of time you'll find that see there are intech unions, ITech unions. So just to support them, 1 day strike, 2 day strike, 3 day strikes happens it. And this is the sympathetic strikes. Okay, some unions doesn't do it. Okay, I can tell example of COEL. Though there were certain calls were there from the political affiliated parties, the union leaders were so matured one. They could convince back to the management and convince back to the unions also when they are pressurized to do the support them by making the call off that day. The management has supported and created holiday for that day just to support. So sometimes management has to also go extra mile and help them because they tried their level best. We have to also help sometimes. Call for the co-workers. I will give you the example here. Pune example. See, one of the multinational company, quite good company, they have decided to have the all contracts by the single party globally. And this global party will appoint the local contractors. And there was a quite good of cost cutting. And till now, the contracts were done decentralized one. Now it is centralized. So a lot of facilities which were given decentralized has been carved out. So the contract has been changed. And there was the first day, the workers, contract workers did not allowed to have the canteen food. Okay. And the reason has been told that while negotiating the contract globally, the local contractor has been not given this benefit. This benefit has been withdrawn. Okay. And suddenly the multinational companies, permanent workers also went into the strike, cooperating them. with just a fear in their mind that, okay, these type of things can happen to us also. If we doesn't support now, management will screw us also. So whatever decisions are taken globally, my request to IR and HR manager, please intervene. What effects are going to happen locally? What benefits you are going to stop? Please hold it. Understand that and revert back if it is not going to be executed. It is not going to be fair if it is not going to be the with the culture of the organization. This is my request. These are the support strikes is which I am going to talk to you. Yeah. See, there are certain external strikes and stoppages. I'll give you, these are the, see, whatever the stoppages are happened for the any company, it is called strikes only as per my experiences and all. See, when I was with the IPCL Indian Petrochemicals Corporation Limited, it was a government company. A lot of land has been taken, 856 hectares land has been taken. Around 500 people has been given the project affected certificates and job has been given. The demands were ever increasing. And that time, the villagers, the all 6 villagers who has been shared the land, they were always blocking the factory roads and stopping the work. I can tell you this is another way of the external strikes and stoppages. And this type of things handling requires lot of networking. You should have quite good impression with the government authorities. Okay, especially the collectors, commissioners, local authorities, police, and all that. And that is the example. I will tell you that being a IR manager, there is an internal, if you are internally maintaining good, you should also maintain externally good. I'll give the example. Okay, I was working with one of the very difficult area that I can mention, Sanaswadi. Okay, in Pune area. See, internally you are taking very well. People are happy. Workers are happy. But if external people are not happy, they are brand ambassador about you. They should really tell the people that this is a company takes care of us also because a lot of people are going to stay in their villages. They are going to get the rent. They are going to get the businesses and all that, and the villages are going to develop that. So connecting with the nearby villages, their officials is one of the responsibility of the IR manager and admin manager. Okay, and that will give you the external shield, and that can save you a lot of things. Even if there are internal issues, the external people can tell you. One more thing I would like to mention that a lot of family visits are conducted in the factory. It is not because of the sake of that showing the factory. The families understand how is the factory, how safe it is, how the people are taken care very well, okay, and how the things are going well. And definitely the families understand whenever their children, their wife, their daughter, or their people working in factory ask that I am going to change the job, they will definitely tell good things about that, and they will have what the good things about the company and the mind, and that will create different atmosphere altogether. Okay, then creating industrial unrest by the local bodies and associations. You'll find most of the time that the villagers will come that और local लोग नहीं लेते हैं बाहर के लोग लेते हैं and that type of pressure is also comes and sometimes they stop our goods vehicles, our buses who are committing daily employees, and that gives effect. That is I call it the external strikes and stoppages. Here also the intervention of the IRHR manager is very much important. Okay, see, these are the just for the sake I have mentioned the reason of strikes being around 50-45 people, they know very well. That's why I just go through that. Most of strikes happened for the failure of the long-term settlements, low wages, unfair practices, bad working conditions, dissatisfaction on the issues related to management and company policies, unfair termination of employees. I will tell you that one of the great strike has been happened. A lot of people have been removed. Okay, because of a single person terminated. Okay, without looking to what will happen if we terminate to that fellow. Okay, that needs to be thought before we issue the termination orders. what is going to happen, how it is going to damage to our existing employees, how it is going to damage our company, damage our export, damage our internal productions, quality, moral, and engagement. Okay. Delayed response from the management. I'll tell you, most of time you will get lot of small signals. The small signals make bigger problems if it is not attended timely. Diversion of collective bargaining. Lot of time I'll tell you that the issues are discussed, bargained, decided to be given, but later on the management divert from that. This is one of the issue presently going on in the one of the big company presently, and the matter has gone to the now labor commissioner's office. Same discrimination. This is the cases you might be knowing it. Aggressive behavior of manager towards the employees and the lack of transparency. Most of time I'll tell you that. If you are transparent, if you are a good communicator, if you are open, if you are a good observer, I will tell you that the opposite party will also will come back with the transparency, with the proper ethics and all that. Okay. See, the reasons of strike is, I already talked about the unfair labor practices, ineffective supervision, most of time it happens, the violation of acceptable norms, which I already discussed, political interference generally happens because this happens most of time, grabbing your internal union, then the external participation in the unions, union rivalries. It is very difficult task. When I was in the IPCL, there were 4 unions. One is a local, another 3 were affiliated with the national unions. It is very tough job. One union will agree, another union will be the headache for convincing. So always I prefer to have the single union, that to internal union. Okay, non-cooperative approach by the unions. This happens. This happens because if unions are good with you, you have to be good with them. If unions are good with with the management and management is not reciprocating the good behaviors, definitely the unions are going to bend as a non-cooperative. And this has happened in most of cases, and that's why lot of the settlements are delayed. Lot of disputes are delayed and went into the court. Okay. See, actually, most of time the strike is utilized as a negative word, but there are few advantages. Strike is the ultimate weapon utilized by the workers and unions, and it needs to be utilized very carefully. But it definitely helps. It helps to worker in negotiations because it gives a pressurization to the management. Your demands gets realized fast. There is a protection that unfair practices are removed faster, and it brings democracy. That most of people are not of my opinion that there should be union or not union. Most of nowadays CEOs, owners are telling union should not be there. But we people are always telling that we are democratic. There should be union. Things go very well. There is somebody who can always cross you, always ask you question, and always keep you into the fair lines. So I am of the strong opinion of for the job, come for the salary, to take care of their families. They are not interested for any dispute or any strike unless and until it has gone out of control or it is completely unfair. Okay. See, there are most of you people might be advantages of management and the labor. Okay, that is good. This disturbance of peace, which I already mentioned, it affects on the economy of the company, it affects on the business, it affects on the consumers, and it affects on the trade and export timelines. This happens. Suppose I will tell you the one example. The exports are very critical one because the vehicles which are purchased in India are on the shelf, whereas outside world, if you go to the Europe and US, the vehicles are purchased, advance booked, the booking money has been taken and the timeline has been given by the companies. You will get the material on so and so date. If the material is not given, you have to pay the penalty for a single day delay. So the export going from the India to other countries has got certain timelines and it affects very, very badly on the companies. Okay. See, loss of wages, what I'm talking disadvantage to the workers is loss of wages to the workers. Sometimes they get the physical injury, death to their violence and during the strike. They have to sometimes go to the jails, and that is a stigma on their life. Adverse effects on their career, it happens because I'll give the example. We people are manager, HR manager. If somebody is the president or somebody the union office bearers and he has been removed from one company and approaching to another company, we definitely ask the questions and we have a lot of doubts before recruiting that film. I will give you the another example is that. See, in the North India, we had one of the factory and suddenly what happened that we had 169 almost trainees and our trainee order given under the certified standing orders of 3 years has been abolished by the labor office, the LC, and we had to remove this. And when we have tried to remove it, the unions were there and the factory has recruiting more and more contract laborers to run the factory. So we have taken the contract laborers. One of the forklift operator has been taken. He came for the first day. He made an accident and there was a fatal accident. He has removed the head of the one of the employee through the force. It was a terrific situation. It was a fatal accident. So here, after the deliberation, we found that the IR role or the recruitment of wage people role is very, very important. We should always go into the depth from where we are going to recruit the persons. What is the culture? What is the behavior we are going to bring into the factory? Okay, if we have the criminals, we have the bad attitude people, definitely we are going to get hampered and the policies are changed. And that's why I always mention that from the project stage of any factory, the IR manager is important. IR interventions are very much important. But management or the owners doesn't understand so easily. But my experience mentioned that we need the people at the project stage only who can mold the IR scenarios, processes, set the processes, mold the unions, mold the workers the way we want, and see that things go on very well. Otherwise, you will find that after starting the any factory, 5 to 10 years are very bad. The people come together, have the unions, then unmature people come and unlogical demands law comes there and it is very difficult to handle. And these 5 years old people, 10 years old people, always compare with the 20 years old organizations, 30 years old organization, and being less maturity, less knowledge, we get a lot of issues. Okay, economic losses, this is known to everyone. See, what are the certain disadvantages to the company? I already mentioned the damages to the machines and equipments. It impacts the image of the company. And I'm telling you, bringing image takes decades. Breaking image takes fraction of second. Okay, so we have to always see that poor relationship between the employer and employee. It is not only known, but it is published throughout the industry. Affects on the productivity and moral of the staff and members. Loss of profit and revenues. Everybody knows that. Okay. Then this is what the rise in the prices for consumers. Prices are increased, scarcity of goods are there, bad effects on the quality of goods. This happens generally the essential industries when they have the strike and stoppages. Okay. Government also affects loss on the revenue of the government, that is GST, IT, and all that. Blame by the different parties. There you find that there are strikes in the government units, and there is always discussions goes on in parliament also. This one party has done, the another party strikes and all that. This blame game goes on. See, this is one of the important thing that how to avoid strikes. Okay, because that is very very important. Strikes, I'll tell you that strike doesn't happen, especially the LTS, wage related, unfair labor practices, and other strikes can be avoided. Okay, strikes happening through accidents, strike happening through the assault in the company. Okay, these are the spontaneous sudden strikes. Okay, that can also be controlled very well with the proper communication, sudden communication. Okay, so I have certain tips which I have gone through my experience. I'm putting to you all how to avoid strikes. Okay, open and proactive communication policy. This is the very much important and the base of that. And most of companies has got really hidden agendas. So you have to always open and proactive communication policy. Okay, I doesn't tell you that you should tell them strategic decisions, strategic policies, strategic thinking on that. But what is required for them is need to be told. Upfrontly it need to be told. If something is not going good, we should tell. I'll tell you, before a settlement, I groom at least 2 years to these people. These type of demands you are taking last 5 years, which is not going to happen. I can give the examples also. The cooperative society will not come. The mobile policy will not change because their safety is involved. So there is a real job of the IR manager to tell them proactively, this can happen, this cannot happen. Okay. Fair conditions and the wage structure is very, very important. All issues can be resolved with mutual understanding and continuous dialogue. This is proved by Coyle, this is proved by myself in other 3 companies where I worked. Keep dialogue continuously. Once you stop your communication, where they will go? They will go to the political parties. They will go to the external parties. And the external parties and political parties will always do the things where their benefits are there. Okay, so please see that every time we should have the continuous dialogue with the office bearers, unions, workers. And that's why we had policy in last 2 companies where I worked. There is a specific human resource facilitator for each factory, each section, each department, and IR spoke for that, who takes care day in, day out of that unit, that department, that factory. Respect each other. I'll give the example. In earlier company, we were recruiting the pan India. So we got the people from Nainital, we got people from Orissa, we got people from Kerala. Okay, we got people from Andhra, we got people from Maharashtra. See, even in Maharashtra, the Solapur language is different. They talk with the Kabe and all that. The Kolhapur language, I cannot use these words now, is different. Okay, so every state, every district has got different languages. When you come to the common place in the industry, there are certain rules and regulations. There are certain communication methods. Okay, one fellow was talking to another fellow in one of the situation at workplace, Kabe. Then the another fellow has came and complained that, sir, in our state, this is called vulgar language. This is called gali. Can you please intervene in that? So we have taken such things in our induction model. And to start with, we have started how to communicate. What type of language should be there? And this will give the respect. And this is not only required for workers, this is more required for the supervisors also, managers also. If everybody is respecting each other, definitely the trust levels go high. Argue on the issues without criticizing or blaming the employees and persons. But we have got the habit. कुछ भी होता है, अरे किसने किया भाई? Don't look the person. Look what is happened, what is wrong. Work on that. I will tell you that even the person who has done it, he will come out openly and tell, sir, it is my mistake. I will improve it. But if you start criticizing a person, not only that person will be afraid, the whole environment will afraid, and they will not come up openly. They will start hiding the things. Okay, and permanently you are shutting the door of open communication. Okay, respond to the feedback. I'll tell you, you get very bad feedbacks. Sometimes you get, sir, manager is not good. He don't know anything. He don't know the process also. He don't know the policies, and he is supervising us. Accept that. Accept that. Take rapidly the class of your manager and supervisor. Go back and tell them, yes, I am thank you for your feedback. This will be improved. You are valuable for us. Okay. Anticipate workers' needs and concerns. I'll tell you, together we HR managers in company. If you have 10 managers having 20 years of experience, together we have 200 years of experience. And if you start thinking, anticipating workers' needs and concerns, I don't think that our worker has to come and tell you. I'll tell you. We have the category of the union category. We do the settlements every 3 years. We have the another category permanent worker. They are not unionized. We do the settlements, one-sided management every year. And whenever settlement has been done, as a HR head or IR head, I am always under fear for next 10 days, 15 days. How it goes? I will tell you that. People come with the feedback. Tell that, sir, आपकी सोच अच्छी है. आप इतना अच्छा डिसीजन लेते हैं जैसे हमारे पेरेंट्स लेते हैं. These are the feedbacks received to us. अगर ये उनके दिमाग में और दिल में फीलिंग जाएगा ना, I will tell you, there will not be a small issue will come up. They will come up with the small things which can be resolved immediately. So this is what my experience is there. Give way to the unions of if things are blocked, choke. Most of time I will tell you that. Once the discussion stopped, the ego goes. Unions will tell IR and HR manager are the neutral people. They are the only dua. They have to see it has to be win-win. किधर भी कुछ भी हो जाएंगे, you have to link that. Remove a prejudiced mind. Remove your negative attitude. Remove your ego and always go and talk them. If things are choked in their mind, please go and talk. I'm telling you, I have utilized this technique and 12 years, whole 12 hours, whole night was going only on one figure of discussions. Okay? And only thing was going yes or no was the decision making. And there was some blockage, there was some choke. I could remove earlier at 5:30 morning and we could succeed at 6 o'clock. Okay, so always it is a responsibility of IR manager to be a very great intervener. Okay, I'll tell you the progressive management approach. I have got the good model on the progressive IR because things are changing, skills are changing, communication levels are changing, people are changing, managers are changing, practices are changing. We need to have progressive approach. Always. We cannot have the traditional approach. So it is a very large subject. Okay. I have got the full detail on that. Definitely if opportunity comes, I'll share you. Develop groom for a strong, stable, and mature unions. This is very much important. And here is the IR is the one of the main IR manager or the HR manager is one of the great responsible person to groom strong, stable, and mature unions. Because on an average in Pune, companies are 20 to 30 years old. They are still further long to go, 20 years more at least. So here is the major job comes to the IR and the HR manager. Create atmosphere of mutual trust. When I talk mutual trust, it is very important. It is a reciprocity. It doesn't mean that suppose discipline is there, penalty is there, it is a fair one, but I will stop that penalty. No, not at all. Okay. If they come ahead with a 1 point, sir, last week में production loss हो गया है, we will take care. TPR हम आज 300 का मारते हैं daily production. Last week it was 250 because माल नहीं आया था, अभी माल है हमारे पास raw material. If they show something like that, going extra mile for production, for the targets of the company, really management has to also go back whenever there is a real need with a given framework. Sincere execution of the agreement clauses. I will tell my dear IR managers, every 6 months we should go through the agreement, which is for 3 years or 4 years, and see that things are going well or not. Okay, most of time agreements are done, but it is not made aware to the persons who are controlling it. Most of things supervisors don't know who are the immediate bosses of the workers. Most of time managers don't know. So please have the awareness session of agreements. Whatever the clauses of productivity, quality, discipline need to be taught very well to the supervisors and managers. If need, you can tell unions also. Workers can also be taught that. And if union asks for that, go ahead and teach them. This has been decided, both has to take care of this. Okay. Workers' participation in management, it doesn't mean I'm talking broad term, they should be director on the board. Here, I will tell you that. There are small ways. There is a canteen committee, there is a safety committee, there is a sports committee, there is a cultural committee. These all committees can have the equal participation of the workers and the management. I'll go further. If you have in worker 2-3 categories, like the different team leaders, team members, or the assistant technicians, or technicians, or trainees, we should have the participation. Be proud. Management is taking our help, listening to us, and not only listening, executing our suggestions also. Okay. Discourage the union's intervention by. See, unions intervention by fair, consistent policies and practices. Where are our why people go to the unions? Study that. Okay, if you are not fair, problems will go there. If you are not adhering to the policies and practices, it will go there. If you are not listening to the worker, they will go to there. If your wages are not competitive one, definitely the issues you doesn't handle well, they will go to that. Employee trust and recognition will only increase if you are fair, open, and ethical. Okay, so you need to always practice these 4 things and discourage the people go to the unions. So there will be less union intervention. Okay, so by that way you can have the when I mean avoid strikes, avoid industrial dispute also. Don't take strike means everything, even a small industrial dispute also. Okay. Then here is the role of employer. Most of time I have seen that because every person is different by his way of talking, attitude, tone, speech, voice, gestures. So employer not to threaten the workers, not to unnecessarily interrogate, because most of time I have seen the genuinity of interrogation is very much important. Don't promise anything. Okay? So unnecessary surveillance and spying. If you are a responsible HR manager or IR manager, and if you have a CCTV in your camera, how people will come to your room, how people will open and talk, how the fairness will be there. So even surveillance and spying has to be very controlled one, calculated one, wherever necessary. Okay, this is what we should think over. See, this is talking about the management, bridge the workers management divide gap. always being HR manager or a manager or a management, think what are the gaps there between the workers and management. When I'm talking workers and management, it means management all categories. It means workers all categories. Okay? If you doesn't understand there are gaps, I will mention you have no intelligence scheme inside the factory. You should have at least 4 to 5 antennas up. You should have the communication channel. The same communication should come from the 4 to 5 channels. Then only start believing. Okay, single communication channel can make your decision failure. Okay, practice empathy. Don't be sympathetic. Sympathetic. Be empathetic. I'm telling you. You all understand that. Maintain always positive attitude and environment. Most of time, people will come to the manager with a negative thing. Sir, ये नहीं हो रहा है, वो नहीं हो रहा है, ऐसा कुछ करते हैं. Give them a positive mind. And this can only happen if you have a positive attitude. And that will create a positive environment. Allow workers autonomy in given work frames. Okay. Most of time I have seen the managers and supervisor, they are of their, though there are the processes, they will tell me ऐसा ही काम करने का है. I will tell you, today's workers are different. Most of diploma workers are now working as workers. They have some good knowledge, interventions, and skills. So please give them autonomy. And this autonomy will create the lot of innovations. Okay, and freedom for them. And I have seen in most of companies, the employees, the workers has got the innovation awards, they got the IPs in their name, now they are getting the royalties for that. Consider employee safety. This is very, very important. Unsafe behavior and unsafe act. Unsafe act is the total responsibility of the management. And the unsafe behavior is also the responsibility of management. You need to train them. You need to set their behavior well. Okay? And unsafe conditions should not be there in factory. This is the direct responsibility of the occupier. Okay? So that is very much important. Provide employees with the information they need. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, if they need certain information, if it fits into your norms, please provide it. If you need to take the permission, please take the permission and share. Only thing here is that we are not going to give the information which is not required to that level. That is also one of the criteria. Okay. How to come out the successful from the strike situations? Strike happens. It is unfortunate. Okay, it is very, very unfortunate. So here it is happened, but we have to come successfully from that strike situation. I have come number of times. Even after the strike, you have to continue the dialogue. Dialogue is a mantra. Continue relationship. Be clear and visible on the goals of resolving issues. Okay? Show eagerness to resolve the issues. Most of time it is happened that you talk by your voice. Yes, yes, karenge, but your body tells negative. Your gestures tells negative. And this goes definitely different signals. Lead the discussions, give way to the unions to come back. Okay? Try to have the communication with individual office bearers. This is very, very important. Most of time we see that आज काय कामापुरता मामा म्हणून वापरला जातो. हा वर्ड पूर्वीचाच आहे. काम असेल तर आपण लोकांकडे जातो. Please don't do this approach. Have connect with each and every office bearers. If it is not possible, the individual IR manager to have the 9 office bearer equal relations, divide that with your managers and have good connect with each individual by each manager. That will give you the lot of benefits in the crisis time and in good times also. Okay. Present full details of transparently to opposite party and clear intention of coming up with solution mutually. If it doesn't give fairly things, then even the productivity plan, even the quality requirement, even the engagement issues, or even the objective in the new program which you are going to run for them, if it doesn't brief them transparently, you will not get the outputs the way you want. Okay? Do not blame the person. Okay? This is very important. We have got the habit. अरे भाई पहले आदमी को ढूंढो किसने गलती की. I will tell you, please don't blame person. Please hamper on the issue, hamper on the problem, not on the person. Okay? If this is an integrity issue, this is an ethical issue, yes, it can be a person, but otherwise not. Deliberate each and every issue transparently with data and logic. I'll tell you, today, lot of stress has been given on the data and logic. Even the unions are matured one. They come with the data and logic with a comparison. So my IR managers and the HR managers, you need to learn data analytics. You need to learn how to collect the data, how to analyze the data, how to read the data, and how to come with a certain solution on that. Last settlement we have done data-driven settlement, and we have done certain initiatives or certain points which are apart from the industry, which are living in the industry. Yeah. Yeah. Then how to come out successfully from the strike situation is continuous. It is always better to tell the families about the employees, about the company's intention, because ultimately family is your extended company. Okay? Continuous briefing to concerned authorities. This is what, if something is going on in strike situation, or after that, it is necessary to talk to the labor office, talk to the factory inspector, talk to the police authorities, talk to the all concerned authorities, which is required. Okay? Making clear the disadvantages to employees with the facts and figures. I will tell you that. If you are able to tell them about the fact and figures, this can happen. Yes, that is okay. This cannot happen with these fact and figures. I will tell you that they will also not demand. Even if they demand superficially, that demand will not be forcefully. Okay? त्याला आपण मराठीत म्हणतो त्याची हवा कशी घालवते ते बघा. Okay? Trust the negotiation teams and empower them. Any failure happens, we blame to the negotiation team. Kindly do not blame to the teams. In fact, if they have the less empowerment, please give them. Workers has to trust on their unions. Similar way, the senior management and the middle management has to support the management teams, trust them, believe them, and support them. That is very, very important. Okay? See, while during this strike, you need to have the certain intervention. You need to have the daily updates, daily meetings, and have the team working. Okay, over and above, I just have found out certain point with my experience. Okay, continue the connect with the union office bearers and the opinion makers. Have the mitigation plan. Rebuild the trust and the positive communication. Keep the authorities informed about the situation and take support wherever necessary. Try to resolve the issues internally. Okay, keep the layers and levels of communication channels open. At least you should have 3 levels, which I already mentioned about the one of the experience of one of the companies. External surroundings to be taken care. We need to have the second eye on the external things and have intelligence and surveillance all the time. This is the prime responsibility of the IR and HR manager. Okay. Initiatives post strikes. I know the time is catching fast. 2050 has been happened. I think 10 more minutes are allowed to me. Prashant? Prashant?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please. What initiatives post strike is given? Because, see, I will tell you, after strike, we need to see that the normalcy come back so fast. And it should not be, it is not like a chabi de do ho jayega, because we are dealing with the human minds, peoples. Okay, so it has to be very, very controlled and safe way. Have the feedback and respond quickly. And that's why you need to have the communication channels. I told HRF schemes and IRS box. Okay, have a communication channels open for all. Boost the morale of the employees by having continuous connect, because the morale comes down when there is a strike period. Engagement initiatives to be in place and execute the same. And most of time, these initiatives works very well to bring back the engagements, loyalty about the organization. Okay, do not blame the strike or to any individual. इसकी वजह से हुआ, इसकी वजह से हुआ. It is a common failure on the part of management and employees. I'm telling you, this is very, very important. We should own the success, we should own the failure together. And most of time after the post strike, most of trainings are happens from the third parties, because our own parties are not able to talk or not able to listen, or people may not believe it. So most of time you will find a lot of training done by the third parties. Okay, take lessons from the incidents and improve continuously. This is very, very important. If small incidences are happening, and if you are not taking care, I will tell you, one day these small incidences will become atomic bomb, Anu bomb, and that will create a situation which is completely uncontrollable. Okay. See, the role of management, I will tell you, the management is the father figure for all the employees. Hence, the responsibility of gaining back the normalcy, trust levels is the prime importance of management. And when management is there, always everybody will look to the IR and HR managers. Okay, to guide properly, to take care of the things. Have robust plan to improve the situation of engagement. Have training programs for all employees to improve the trust levels. Be fair, transparent in all communication and actions. Have more and more communication meetings. Okay, all managers and staff members to be trained towards the handling the situation and bringing back the normalcy as early as possible. Here it is very much staff members need to be trained. Okay. What is the role of workers representative? They are also same, because there are two wheels. One is a management and one is a unions. Union office bearers are the representative of the workers. Their role is of prime importance. Okay, take care of the workers and their families towards the improving the moral engagement and trust levels. It is the responsibility of the union office bearers. Assuring the management to give the maximum support for the highest productivity to recover the losses during the strike. And this is happened. I have seen the Indians have taken the lot of pain to come back to the normalcy, come back the productivity losses. Build the trust at workplace by high level of the teamwork between the co-workers and supervisors. Be positive to improving the situation and take lead towards building the organization stronger and stronger. Okay. This is the last one which I will not go because it is available on the books, it is available on the Googles. Legal provision in the new labor codes. I will just tell in the one line, going on the strike will be very difficult for the workers and unions hereafter. The new labor codes has got lot of controls. It will take 14 days to 60 days. Lot of permissions are required. Okay, so this will be the tough time for them. So I am very much thankful. So I am ready to ask you to answer your questions and answers. Questions. Sorry.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. So, anybody from the audience, if they have any question towards sir, kindly unmute yourself.
Even if I wanted to improve something, please give the feedback. I am very open to listen and improve upon, because age doesn't matter. Improvement matters.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually, it was a very informative and very important session for us. Okay, thank you very much for finding some time and giving this valuable information to us, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sahu, sir. Anybody else? Hello.
Pakhare sir.
So good
Yeah.
evening. This is Nitin Mank here from Leadec India Private Limited. In fact, your rich experience has definitely given us a lot of inputs while handling the IR aspect of strike. I would also like to understand, sir, there is a lot of confusion while you treat the notice period of the strikes given by the unions. So if you can just throw light on that part, which will clarify how it is to be dealt with. Please.
One thing I would like to mention that the labor codes has so far not started to be executed, but today also the minimum 14 days notice is required. Okay, if there are sudden strikes, okay, that is called as illegal if they have not given the proper notice. The 14 days notice is very much important, and the notice should have clear cut reasons for what they are going for the strike. And the reason will definitely later on will prove that the strike was legal, illegal, urgent, or what in the court of law.
Hello.
Yes, Anchal, yes,
Hello.
please.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Rama. I am the HR head in one organization in hospitals. Now I am changing the organization. That the organization is having the don't have any into the organizations which have the unions. So what initially the things should be taken care of as a HR.
Tell you. I'll tell you that the first thing is that unions will test you. Okay, what is your knowledge? What is your experience? And whether you talk fairly. So the first job is that first 90 days you have to prepare plan to see that how you are going to make the relations, make the trust with the unions as well as the management with your experience. So building trust, building relations will be the first important thing which you have to make it. And this will be possible because of your the earlier experience that how you have made the relations, how you have treated the people respectfully, how you have done the fair things in the organization, how you have executed the policies fairly. These all things you have to tell them and tell the unions also that at upfront you are very fair, you are very much open and transparent, you are communicative. Before talking to this, understand the business culture, the management culture also, how they are supported to you. This is what my guidance to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anshul, I guess you are raising your hand. Please go forward and unmute yourself. Anshul, okay, I think you are raising your hand. Till then, if anybody else,
Yes, Suhas sir.
Yes.
Suhas sir, this side is Niyaz. So just share your insights or your some experience on recruitment during the strike, sir. Because if there is a legal strike, so you are aware that the union is not inside of recruitment. So how you can tackle during the recruitment during the strike, sir?
Okay. See, first thing is I will tell you that always management will think that production to run. Okay, there should not be a stoppage. And unions thinking will be there. We have to disturb the management. We have to disturb the production. Then only they will come under consideration and listen our demands or they will look to our demands. See, I will tell you, whenever there is a strike, instead of recruiting the new peoples, you can temporarily divert to the another units if you have the unit. Okay, to take care. Number one. Number two, if you are supplier, two, three suppliers for your one client, have a more business to the another suppliers. Third one is that if it is necessary, have the temporary contract laborers, okay, who is a strong contractor with all things economic and muscle, who can take care of the situation, okay, with a certain cautions also, because whenever you are going to take the contractor, the new employees, they should not create the problem, or they should not put certain oil in that fire which is going on. So carefully you can have these people with a proper screening and run your production lines. But running fully production line is always difficult in the strike. Okay. And as I have given you the examples, we have done in one of the plant in the North India, and we recruited suddenly a lot of people without looking to that. Okay, so we got the pressure from the unions also, but we got the even accident also. We had to face a battle. Things has gone havoc. The, these are the things. Hope I could answer your question.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Due to lack of time, I think we cannot add any more questions. Sorry, sir. So if anybody wants to ask more questions or want your guidance, I hope they can connect you even after the session through OHR.
Ma'am, can I have one question? This is Santosh here.
Okay.
Sir,
Last question.
Please, sir.
actually, yeah, please, and thank you very much, sir. See, generally it happens ki whenever we are fair or the management is fair, the unions are taking this the other way, and they generally demand more, or they are not ready to settle down a particular issue whenever the negotiations are in process. And in that case, generally it happens ki since they are not coming down, management have to do certain adjustment and make them to agree, or has to take one step back. So in that case, every time whenever there is a settlement, or whenever in the new term or after completion of the settlements, the union starts thinking in a different way, that like there is a battle between the two teams, and they are, since the management is taking a foot back, different atmosphere. So in this case, how should so in during next year of settlement, how should we tackle such issues?
See, Santosh, this is a very great question, and it is a typical question happens in most of companies. I'll tell you that suppose, see, whatever fair for management, if the LTS demands are there, say especially the amount, okay, it will be always unfair to the unions. Okay, suppose you are telling some figure is a fair for a management, it will be always unfair to the will always. That's why I'm telling you that you have to be a data driven. Okay, you have to be some logic. I can afford this much. I cannot afford over and above. Be open and be transparent. Okay. See, and what is the industry going on? I'll tell you the best things what you should do before the settlement. Have the presentations to the unions. Union will also present about the operations, about the quality, about the productivity, about the IR initiatives, about the current situation in the market, about the settlements. And that will give them the understanding what is fair and unfair. Okay. So when you feel that you are fair and the unions are unfair, here the question comes is that you have to go back to the unions, talk with the data and logic, and convince them. This is a game of either you convince the opposite party or get convinced back. Okay, this is a game. Negotiation is a game of that. So you have to be stronger and you have to be convincing with the data and logic. Suppose you can't convince and they have got the greater data than you or a greater point, which are fair one. Keep your open mind to accept that. Okay, but here most of time we feel that either unions are adamant or the management is adamant. Here, my request to both parties that instead of adamancy, be logical, be data driven, and be fair. Okay, if you have logic, if you have data, you will be fair one. Okay, This is very important. It is a climbing on the rope. Thank you. Hope you got
you very
some
much, sir.
input
Thank
from
you.
me. Santosh?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I got my answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Santosh sir. Thank you, Suhas sir. And before I hand over to Sachin sir, my sincere apologies if anything has gone wrong during the session from my side. And now I request Mr. Sachin Nange, Treasurer, Trustee of OHR, to please come forward for the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sukriti. I, Sachin Nange, trustee of Only HR Foundation. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. I should have asked this before. So, on behalf of OHR, trustees, executive members, and the entire HR fraternity, here together on my own behalf, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Suhas Pakhare sir. I think, sir, if you look at the chat box, you will come to know what kind of session you have delivered today. And there are so many messages in the chat box, even on personal WhatsApp we are getting. This was really very learning, I think you have in this entire last 1 hour, you tried to give the full knowledge, whatever essence what you're carrying since last 3-4 decades. You have tried to give it to us, sir. This is really very helpful to all of us. And I thank special thanks to Dinesh Bhalerao and Vipin Ghate sir, who is our trustee, to bring in Suhas Pakhare sir for today's session. So thank you so much. I also like to thank Sukriti for her very wonderful and very nice anchoring, which keeps it very lively the entire session. So thank you so much, and thank you to all the participants. In spite of Saturday, few of them are having their working Saturdays, still they are here. So thank you each and every one. I also like to thank the other trustees who are present here, like Prashant Isape, Aniket Nirekar, our executive team members, Nitin, Yogesh, all of them. Once again, sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suhas Pakhare sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Listening to me, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and happy weekend to all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you, OHR.
Thanks.